It's November the 20th. I'm Ian Warrender, Director of Warrender Technical Solutions. We've got past Friday 13th and somehow we're barreling towards the end of the year. Today I want to take you through the basics of Excel. This is entirely focused on people that have not touched Excel in a while or is the first time actually using it. Now I'll be using Excel 365, which is a standard that comes on all new products now. If you'd like an overview of a different version that you're using, please contact me and I will arrange one. So when you open Excel, this is the sort of page that you will initially see. What you want to do is create a new one, which you can use using the blank workbook or by using this new tab, and you'll get a series of templates available to you. But for now, we're just going to go basic, so we're just going to open up a blank workbook. Now, this is the basic page that you'll see when you open up any Excel or any Microsoft Office product. At the top, you've got something we call a ribbon, which gives you all the options for actually functioning the software. Below, we've got the area where you could create your required spreadsheet. So let's have a brief look at the ribbon. The ribbon's split into different sections. So as you click on different areas of the ribbon, you'll get different options. At the very start, with at File, which you saw initially when you opened up Excel, give you the options of save, saving as, sharing, export. You can also save using the option at the top. So you don't need to go into the file to do the saving, you can do that directly at the top. There's an autosave function there. If you're going to be working multiple hours on your spreadsheet, it is a good idea to turn on. I'm not going to be using this function myself, but it's a good idea if you're going to be working for a while. The function will ask you where you want your file saved, and then periodically it will save it and it will avoid you losing any data if anything crashes. The basic ribbon that you'll get when you initially open anything up is the home ribbon. This gives you the option for copying, pasting, your fonts, your alignment of your fonts, text, and then some more higher functions of your formatting. Something called conditional formatting, which we'll have a session on later. Tables, inserting, then some basic functions. Now today, as I mentioned, we're just going to go top level. So I'm not going to be touching any of the more complex functions or anything more detailed than just going on the overview. Now you're here to create spreadsheets. That's what Excel is all about. And obviously most of your work will be done actually on the spreadsheet itself. So we're going to have titles. And we might have some dates, some values. Now to select any of these cells, it's a single click. To make any changes to any of the cells, double click it to access the cell, or you can click up here in the function bar. Both do the same type of thing. If your text gets too large for the column that it's in, we can make changes to these columns. We can make changes by putting our cursor between two columns, in this case B and C, and then holding down the left mouse button and then dragging. And make it as large or as small as we want. If we want the column to fit the text that's in there, we can hover up between the two columns again and double click, and it will revert to the largest space that's in there. So if there was a larger amount of text, for example, and we double click between there, it's going to revert to the cell that's got the most text. Now, if you had a lot of text, you might not want to make your column width to fit it, because eventually you might end up with column widths all the way over here and it won't make sense for your data. You've got two options. you can use this wrap text function, and what that will do is when you select your own column width, it will then wrap the text onto the line. As you can see, we can't physically see it all, and to do that we need to increase the row height. We do that the exact same as the column. We can drag, or we can use a double click to reduce it to its most optimum height. Or if we legitimately want 2 lines of text inside the same cell, we use Alt and Enter to split the text where needed. So the reason why we use Alt Enter and not just Enter is if you're within a cell and you click Enter, it's always going to go to the next cell. So when you specifically need multiple lines within a cell, use the Alt Enter function to tell it that we definitely want a new line. Most of the time, however, you won't be, at least initially, worried about text because we're here to create a spreadsheet of types. So with basic numbers, it's simply typing, and we can put as many numbers as we want. Now, one thing Excel can do for us is it can count. So if I've got a small string of numbers in a row with some obvious continuation, so on this one it's 1, 2, 3. If I highlight them all three, I've got this little black square, this little intersect here. Now if I hover over the intersect, click on the left mouse key and drag it down, it will automatically keep that count going. Now that will work not just with simple ones, but it'll work with other sequences. What it won't work with is sequences it can't recognize. So here we've got sequences that are doubling, and this automatic function doesn't know how to cope with that. There are ways to get Excel to do that, and we'll come to that very shortly. But this sequencing doesn't just work for numbers by themselves. Here I've got category 1. If I drag that down the same way that I have with the numbers, it's going to make an assumption, just like before, that I want to increase that in a sequence. Again, we've run out of room there. If I double click on the A there, it's going to increase to include the 10. And just like before, if there was obvious sequence in here, so here we've got 2, 4, it's going to work the exact same way as the numbers. So the sequencing works with numbers as well as numbers within a text string, within text, providing there's an obvious place for that numbering. You see when I put it in the middle, it doesn't work. If I put it at the beginning, it will. So numbers at the beginning and end, it knows how to sequence. Numbers in the middle, it doesn't recognize, it doesn't pick that up of anything else other than text. Now if you've got a fixed table, a fixed amount of information within a spreadsheet, one thing Excel can do is recognize where the end of that is. So I've got a sequence here, that I want to pull down to the end. I can do what I did before, pull it down, or if we go to our intersect point here, double click, it's going to automatically assume we want that down to the end. It won't work if there's a break in the table. So if I take this out and I try that again, it's only going to go to where the break is, which makes sense. Now dates work very similar. Now here, sitting in Britain, the date format that we use here is day, month, year. Now time works the exact same way as numbers. So here, if I increase this by 1 day, and I tell it to go down to the bottom of the table, so I'm going to use that intersect again, I'm going to use double click, you see how it increases the days. I might actually want it to increase by a week, so I'm going to put that one as 27th. I'm going to use that intersect, and it's going to increase per week, or I could want it to increase per month. As long as there is a recognizable sequence to the numbers that we're putting in, it will be able to work out itself what you want to do. If I change this one to something that isn't recognizable, so if I change, actually I want that to be the 19th of the 1st, I try and ask it to put a sequence in place. It's going to try, but whether or not it's the sequence you want or not is a completely different matter. Now, Excel, the strength of Excel isn't the typing or making of a table. The strength of Excel is the way it references data. So each of these cells has a reference. This reference here, for example, is B2. It's in column B, it's in row 2. I can reference that cell anywhere by using an equal sign and typing B2, and it's going to pull that in. Excel will help you so that if you click on a reference, it will automatically place what that reference is. So in this particular case, B3. As we've seen several times before, if you have a recognizable sequence and you type them in, you can use the complete function and it will type them in. So these are all now equal to column B. Obviously not much power in that because we can see what column B is. But if I wanted to add a column B and C, I can use the add function just straight from the keyboard, and I can click on C, and now I've got a total of B and C in there. I can drag this one down by using the complete function, the double click, and it will then add up these two columns. So let's look at some very basic formatting of this table. I want to differentiate the headings I've got here from the categories and the main data. So I can use the bold function in the font to just differentiate between the two. We've got colors, we've got sizes. Now currently this is using the Excel grid lines for us. If we go to view, we take those grid lines off. This is actually how it will print. This is when you print it, this is what you'll look like. So you might want to add borders to your table yourself. Let's do it very straightforward. In the home, under this section, we've got borders. And it's got some that'll do automatically for you. So for example, I want to make all of this with borders. I can go in and just click borders. If I go to the view and I take the grid lines off, we'll see now that we've got the table there, customed, ready to print. Now that's all I want to cover today on the intro to Excel. I will be doing other sessions, going slightly more in depth. I'll be doing a session on functions within Excel, the native functions that will allow you to sum columns up, do higher functions of maths. But the one I want to do next time is just simple formatting of how to actually create your spreadsheet and put it in a format where you can print it out and use it. Now, if you've got any questions, anything specific that you would like me to cover in Excel, that you would like me to produce a session on, ask, because that will help me focus on what people need. Other than that, I will start creating overviews for Microsoft Word and PowerPoint. We go into other Microsoft software such as Access if people want. But for now, I just want to focus top level and then gradually get into more in depth in these sessions.